final term is missionary disciple. Why do we have to say missionary? Well, because some people think that, well, it's enough for me to follow Jesus. It's enough for me to be converted. It's enough for me to live a righteous life. It's enough for me to pray and go to Mass and so on. I don't have to tell anybody. I think all of our quotes from the Vatican II document on the laity, I think, should have dispelled that by now. But I want to give you some motivation. What are the main motivating factors for spreading the good news, for not keeping it to myself? Okay. So number one, as the apostle said, we cannot but speak of what we have seen and heard. I want to share the good news because it's true. Jesus is real. Jesus is alive. Number one reason. I can't be silent. Knowing what I know, I have to share it. Well, 1 John chapter 1. That which we have seen and heard we proclaim also to you, so that you may have fellowship with us. Right? If I've come to know and love the Lord, I want to be with people who know and love the Lord. I want to build bonds of fellowship. That's what evangelization helps me to do. I share the good news. Hey, guess what? I now have new brothers and sisters that I can live this joyful existence with. Another reason, St. Paul says, I'm not ashamed of the gospel. Right? Too many Catholics are ashamed of the gospel. It is the power of God for salvation to everyone who has faith. Right? The incredible power of the gospel. The gospel has changed the world. And it can do it again, if we trust in the power that it has. It's the only thing that brings salvation. There's nothing else. It doesn't matter what you turn to, nothing else can bring salvation, but the gospel can. Another reason, St. Paul says, if I preach the gospel, that gives me no ground for boasting, for necessity is laid upon me. Woe to me if I do not preach the gospel. Okay, so if I'm not convinced by the first reasons, the fact that Christ commands me to do it should impel me. Because that means that if I'm not evangelizing, then I'm being unfaithful to Christ. I'm disobeying him. Woe to me if I do not preach the gospel. Next reason. Jesus spells out in so many ways throughout the gospel, so many different parables and images, that there are serious consequences, eternal consequences, for not accepting his gospel. He who believes and is baptized will be saved, but he who does not believe will be condemned. That's a very real motivating factor, or at least it should be a real motivating factor for us to proclaim the good news. The consequences of not. God so loved the world that he gave his only Son so that we might not perish. We might not perish but have eternal life. That's the choice, eternal life or perishing. And the final motivating reason is that it's the greatest adventure of all time. It's putting out into the deep with Jesus. Simon answered, Master, we toiled all night and took nothing, but at your word I will let down the nets. And when they had done this, they enclosed a great shoal of fish. Let's see what the power of God can do in and through us when we act on his word.